Sirens, Slammers, and Service, a podcast for female first responders by female first responders. My name is Nikki Clucci, and I will be your host. As a former correctional officer in Alberta for almost 2 decades and the founder of Blue Line Fitness Testing, which provides law enforcement fitness testing and first responder wellness workshops, I started this podcast as a way for female first responders to share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of their daily work. I want to showcase the unique perspectives, skill sets, and personalities that women bring to a first responder career and share their stories. So get ready to laugh your ass off, learn a whole bunch, and be inspired by some pretty badass women. Let's go. Welcome back, guys, into season 3 with Sirens, Slammers, and Service. Today, I am joined by a pretty big badass. We met at Blue Line when she came to run her pair, and then we found out that we were both front row rugby players, that we're going to meet each other later in the season and got to play against each other. I am so pumped to have Eleena Monk with me today. Eleena has been a peace officer for the past 5 years and worked in security before that, and she's going to talk us through her journey through her career in law enforcement into conservation and all the other pieces in between. So welcome, Eleena. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I am somewhat excited to be here.
She's terrified. We were talking before we started recording, and she's like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. And I was like, we're doing it. Shut up. Get on the podcast. It's all good. And I forgot to mention, oh my God, how could I forget this? Eleena was also on the World Police Fire Games team that was just past summer, took silver. Did you guys take silver or bronze? I think you guys took bronze, right?
We took bronze and Canada White took silver and France took gold.
Yes, right. And so that was your first ever foray into World Police Fire Games, right?
Yeah, it was fucking super sick. It was probably one of my favorite experiences of my life, for sure.
So awesome. Yeah. So awesome. And I was so proud of you guys to watch you guys' journey. This year is going to be in good old Winnipeg. Woo!
It's true. I know.
It should be fun, though. It should be fun. Yeah, it'll be cool. Fun. And Winnipeg has awesome rugby fields. If you've never played out there, they have a really great setup out there. So yeah, you'll have a ton of fun. I'm still trying to figure out a way to get out there with you guys and go, because I really want to go. I actually got called up to the Canadian Classics game in Boston in July, so I'm super fucking pumped to do that. We get to represent Canada at the Classics, so that's over 35. I know that dates me, but whatever. But I get to play with a bunch of ex-Canada players and basically wear the maple leaf for Canada. So I am super fucking pumped to do that. So
that's fucking awesome.
Right? Like, I'm so excited. So if I can wrap that up with also then being able to, represent Canada in the World Police Fire Games, like 1000% best summer ever.
It's a super cool experience, like putting on a Canadian jersey and going out on the field and representing Canada. It was like surreal and just a super proud moment. So it definitely, if you can do that, like, hell yeah.
It is. It's amazing. Like, you put that jersey on and you're like, oh my God, like, this is the fucking coolest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Like, wow, this is so fucking amazing. So yeah,
it combines like policing, firefighters, and rugby all together. Like, it was just a really neat experience.
Yeah, it is. It's so cool. And it's so cool to meet like other athletes from across the world, but all law enforcement or first responders, right? And like, you share the same like stories and the same, like, it doesn't matter what country you come from, you still share the same things that happen to you, but then you also get to share like the sport or to see like all the other different sports that they have at World Police Fire Games. Like, sometimes like there was things I didn't even know that were a part of it. And I was like, what? This is part of the, like, this whole entire thing. And they're like, oh yeah, we've been a sport since, its inception. It's like, holy shit, I had no idea. Right. So yeah.
There's like tug of war.
Yes. There was race walking, there's tug of war, there's was it stair climbing, something like that? It's like however many like stairs you can do. Like, it was, yeah, there's crazy sports. And like, people are insanely competitive because obviously we're all type A's, right? So people are just like fucking in the zone, like, we are here to win, right? So yeah, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. So, and that's awesome. So yeah, so you'll be representing again this summer, which is fantastic.
I don't get to though this year. I'm junior in my agency, so my time off. Okay, I still thoroughly am excited about Rotterdam. But a firefighter took my place, so a bit of a downgrade, but that's okay.
fucking love you. That's awesome. Oh, that's sad though that you're not going. That's too bad. Fuck,
That's
dude.
the team will miss me. We have like last year we had Rotterdam Rhonda, which was this like blow up doll, this sex blow up doll that I carried around Rotterdam. Like I was fucking obsessed with Rhonda. I would make her like touch people and be like, Rhonda, no. And then she'd like I'd carry her on my back. And so Dee is gonna miss you and Rhonda's gonna miss you. And I'm like, I'm gonna miss their cold plastic touch. Like I just like
You're so fucking funny. That's awesome though. Like, I mean, that's the thing, right? You got to come up with something fun for each tour, like something that you're gonna bring, a toy or a fucking stuffed animal or a cutout cardboard of somebody or something that has to come along. So I like it, Rhonda. That's fantastic. uh,
yeah, it was funny.
So, okay, so tell me about how you got into this. How did you get into law enforcement? Like, where did this come from? What made you think like this is what I want to do with my life?
I would say that my inspiration was my brother. So he was a combat engineer and he deployed to Afghanistan in I think 2008. And just watching him like to be just this upstanding guy really inspired me. And he's my best friend. He's my closest friend. So um, when he got back, we were on a road trip actually back from Ontario, and he put on this like CD by Lieutenant Dave Grossman and Sheepdogs Are Protectors. And I was like, and I kind of like looked at him and I was like, do you think I could be like a sheepdog? Could I be a protector? Because when I don't have confidence in me, my brother does. So he was like, of course you could be, and like confidence from him. And I was like, okay, like, well, I'll get into law enforcement then. Because I wanted to do something significant like he had done, and kind of follow in his footsteps in a uniform capacity. So that was what put me on that journey.
That's awesome. I love it. And I love the fact that you have such a close relationship with your brother because I know when you were training for that conservation officer position and trying to get that pair, you were like, I got to text my brother when you pass. Like, I got to tell him. And I was like, that is so freaking cute. Like, I love it. I think siblings that get along like that, though, that's a huge thing. Like to have that close relationship with somebody who's always going to be in your corner no matter what and will always support you no matter what. I think that's phenomenal. So that's awesome. And so then how did you like what was the first thing you did? Because I know you started in security. So did you do any schooling or anything for this, or did you just kind of come out and be like, I'm gonna just start at the beginning?
So what I did was I ended up taking the police studies program at McCune University. That kind of just something on my resume to get myself some security jobs. And while I was in McEwen on my second summer off, I got on with Alberta Parks as a park ranger, a seasonal park ranger, which is a 4-month temporary peace officer gig. I was at Wobman Lake walking a beach with long sleeves because I had tattoos. So I had to wear long sleeves at that time. I was roasting, and I was pretty much like, Wobman was a lot of like open liquor. One time a person called me Captain Buzzkill when I asked them to turn down their music, and I figured at least I was a captain. So it was a lot of telling people to quiet down in their sites, fisheries offenses, and go out on the boat and do a little bit of natural resource law enforcement. And that was a lot of fun. And we got to rip around on quads. And I had a sergeant there who was just a really badass sergeant. He was this short little dude. And that was my first law enforcement gig. And then that experience got me enough experience to get onto West Ed security after that.
Oh my God. I was gonna say, I bet you have some fucking stories from West Ed because I talk to those guys. So a lot of them come through and run and, they're looking to move laterally or go somewhere else or do something different. And I always think to myself, because my best friend, when, I was in my party stage, she used to bounce at whatever the fuck it was, not Reds. It was whatever was after Reds that was up there. And the story she would tell me from even bouncing there that I was like, what? And she's like, oh, this guy had no pants on. This one fucking jumped off the top, like the second story and into the moat. And then we had to go and deal with that because security couldn't get him out. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? She's like, no, it's a goddamn nightmare. And I always think about this because like the bar, like if you've ever partied on Bourbon Street, and like I've only partied there a couple times, usually after a Christmas party and we've been, somewhere, but like it is surreal to be like loaded walking through the mall like at 3 a.m. and you're just like walking past these stores and it's like you're in the mall and you're hammered and you're just like, what is going on right now? Right? So I can't even imagine. So you get on with WEM security and like, what is that like? Like what, like, tell me what that's like.
I have a special place in my heart for West Edmonton Mall security. Like, we were just a bunch of fucking nerds. Like, I don't know. Like, okay, so we were a fucking dumpster fire. We like, that was our logo. I don't know. We were just a dumpster fire of a squad. Like fucking just some really fun people. And you're right. Like, I don't know what happens when people come into the mall, but it's like the Wild West out there. And also the team building that they do at West Ed is really funny. They give you a little hard time when you start, but it's hilarious. They made me to eat a stack of like 6 donuts and then chug a Gretzky, which is 9 cream, 9 sugar, and then sprint the lagoon, like sprint around the lagoon. And I like think I got diabetes like immediately.
Yes. You got the diabetes. Diabetes.
I did. And there's like just weird calls. Like someone once was like, there's a snake loose in the Fantasyland Hotel. They can't find it. And they never did. As far as I'm aware, it's not been found.
Shut the fuck
up. I was like, no, it was fucked. I had to respond to that call and I was like, I'm not picking up a snake. And we were like in the back hall. And I was like pie around corners trying to see like if the snake was there. Because I just like could not handle it. What else do we do? I just had a great crew. I made them all I made my team when I left. I made them all dress up in various outfits at that shoot booth and do a photo shoot with me. So that was really fun. So I was a cowboy because I was going to sheriffs. I was a little sheriff, my badge with the gun. And I think we had a couple different outfits. So, and yeah, there was lots of like weird arrests and just, but it was a good time and it was a good year and it got me like a lot of experience and I just had a lot of fun there.
I think too, that's the side of that, like because always, people like, oh, mall cops, blah, 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 blah. But like the experience that you get from that, because not only do you have to be utmost professional at all times, because there's a million people around as you're having to go up and talk to this person, and this person is, been caught stealing or is high or is acting like a fucking idiot or is crazy or whatever you're fucking dealing with, right? Drunk, like, and you have to just be on all of the time. Plus, like, keep your head on a swivel to know that like what you're walking into might not be what the call, what they said the call was, and that there at any point in time another member of the public could jump in and either start, escalating the situation or trying to help you. Fuck off, people. We don't want your help. Please stay out of the fucking situation. PSA for all those non-law enforcement people that listen. Don't fucking help us. Thank you very much. We don't want your help. Like, you're making it worse. Please fuck off, right? Or video you, or like I can't even, like, because at the jail, we were just like, you're in, like, you're locked in the jail. Like, yes, there's cameras, but nobody is like videoing you when you're trying to fucking de-escalate somebody who is just like hot about something, right? Like, and again, with that, that stigma of like, whatever, fuck you, Paul Blart, mall cop, like, I'm not fucking listening to you, right? And it's like, well, sir, you still have to exit. You're still being banned from the mall. Like, you still have to leave, like, I just, to me, like, that experience and that ability to, consistently remain professional, be able to verbally de-escalate so many situations. Because the last thing you want to do is go hands-on in the middle of the mall with somebody, right? Unless it's absolutely necessary. So your communication skills, I mean, like, you must have honed them so well from working within that mall. And just, and because there's so many people that are there too. It's not like it's just a regular mall. It's like the biggest fucking mall ever that you have to fucking patrol. Like, I mean, well done to all the WEM guys that are listening and girls that are listening. Well done to you. Kudos. I bow down to you.
Hashtag WEMSEC for life. Yeah, it was, what, it did, I think did hone a lot of communication skills. Obviously you have minimal authorities to do anything. So talking was your best way to deal with the situation. Park ranger and a conservation officer. My backup was closer to WEM, but backup when I was in the natural resource enforcement was 30 to 45 minutes away. So I had to learn how to talk and how to listen and how to like de-escalate. I'm good at them. I'm personable. I like talking to people. So that's always been, I think, something that has kept me safe for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you were at
Mhm.
WEM for a year and then you left WEM and you went to the Sheriffs.
I did. So I went to the Sheriffs. I was a Sheriffs that would have been 2019. So I started in class 974. And I just had an absolute blast at one of my very favorite memories is I think some of the most like challenging parts of that for me was definitely EVOC. I almost failed, and I honestly wouldn't be in law enforcement if it wasn't for him, because I almost failed out of sheriff's training due to EVOC. So that's the emergency vehicle operators course. I was so fucking bad at it. I was so bad at it. But it was an absolute shit show on that track for me. And so at the end of EVOC, you have to pass a big course for sheriffs, it's the length of the track next to the garrison.
Mm-hmm.
And you only had so many attempts, not in a place to pass it all, because I just kept failing and failing. And then they pulled me aside and I was the last person doing it. And my whole team was watching and I knew I only had a couple attempts left. And Dorsey had been my driving partner that day, been sitting in the car with me, and I was jacked up because the instructors are there. And Dorsey was like, just let me sit with her. And he came into the car, cranked the radio, and he said this French song that we'd been listening to. He'd say, "Filmez-moi, Monk, filmez-moi, calm down." He started driving, and the fucking sky opened up and started shitting rain. And I'm going. Like, I'm driving as fast as I can because I have to make the time. And they're like, "We'll take time into account. We'll take rain into account." And I was like, "No, fuck them. I'm passing this." He's like screaming in the passenger seat. But I made it by a fucking I just made it through that course. And it was because Dorsey came in and sat with me. So he got me through that portion of it. And that definitely would have changed the course of my career for sure if I had failed out at that point.
That's awesome. You know what? It's so good. There's so many good people along the way that when you take into consideration, if I look back over my career, people that just took the time to not, I wouldn't say ensure my success, but to guide me properly and to be like, do you really think you should do that? Or do you really, what, maybe take 24 hours on that,
Mm-hmm.
Nikki, or, yeah, don't stress about this. It'll come, just take a deep breath and, go take 20 minutes and, you can do this, right? Those people, they're gems, they're freaking gems in your career, right? And so to have them and if you're moving through your career, right, try and be one of those people for somebody, right? It's so easy for us to get very narrow-minded and very focused on just what we need to do and how we need to just get through this shift or get through this day or get through this fucking situation, right? And so if you can be that person who just reaches out and helps somebody out or takes an extra minute to say something or to try and guide somebody properly, do it, because I definitely wouldn't be where I was at without those people. So I completely understand that. I love it. I think that's awesome. And the driving the EVOC, I always say, because we never got to do it when I went through training, because we never they would just put you through training and then be like, hey, go take this inmate in this giant van and drive him places, and you're like, okay, no fucking training whatsoever. Okay. And me and my 5 foot, right? So that I'm in the van.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, right. I'm totally fine. We're good here. And so then when I heard when they first brought it in, I was so jealous that you guys got to do that. I was like, I want to go fucking do EVOC. That's amazing, right? So because I'm friends with Marissa, who's with the Sheriffs, and so I think she's an instructor. So I think I'm just going to be like, can I just come for a day and play? Is there a way to be able to do that? Because I really want to do that.
It's a fucking blast. It really is. I had to do it again for conservation officers, and it was night and day. I was just having a good time my second time through. It is so much fun. It's hard, but it's fun. So definitely, if you ever have the chance.
Oh, wicked. So you get into Alberta Sheriffs, and you were based out of Edmonton. And
yes.
how was that? What did you do within the Sheriffs?
So initially I started out in courts like most sheriffs, and I did courts and did some rural courts and did the training. But just as I had finished up training, a few months into it, the pandemic hit, and they needed people on escort base specifically. So I jumped on the opportunity to go on escort base for I think 6 months or something like that. So just transporting inmates across Alberta with a partner. And that was a really good time. I was partnered up with a badass guy called Tajpal. We had from escorts. I had the opportunity to work at the ledge grounds, and that was really, really neat because there was a lot of protests going on at that time. like
Mm.
so many protests. So
Yeah.
I got to see people from like all walks of life, from like very extreme left to very extreme right to just people right in the middle. And it was like it was stressful, but it was really really cool to kind of sort of be at the front of like the front line of these like political issues. You're like literally seeing people protest it at the ledge and sharing their opinion, and you're hearing it in the news. And it was just like a very surreal, interesting time. So that was cool and hard sometimes, but I liked it. It was a neat experience for sure.
What were you like? You basically at the front, like on the steps of the ledge, just making sure that everything's being done as respectfully as possible, like making sure that the sides aren't fucking coming to blows in the middle, or like how did that actual like responsibility kind of fall out?
Yeah, so it sort of depended on the size of the protests. So for a while there was protests every Saturday, and so if it was like say 100 people or 60 to 100 people, and it was all sort of say one or people from the right, and there's not many people from the left. Mostly we kind of just hung to the side and let them do their thing, and we didn't interfere. We'd need to get involved when the numbers started to get higher, and then a counter protest would start. So left or right, once there's like a big enough protest, the other side starts to show up to share their opinion. And so it was mostly just monitoring those interactions while still trying to allow people their freedom of speech, their right to say what they need to say. So I think that the biggest protest, I was actually facing one side. I had another line of, I think, EPS behind me facing another side, and then a third line. It was like we had three columns. We were sent like in the middle of the ledge, kind of on this like this big courtyard, and it was just one massive group and another massive group yelling at each other over top of us. And it was a long day. It was a really really interesting day, but it was pretty tense at times for sure.
That's hard too, because like as much training as you get, you're not tactically trained for riots, right? Like not in that role, and you're not tactically
Mm-mm.
trained for, like how to, if it did all of a sudden fucking erupt and now these two sides are rushing at each other, that takes a little bit of coordination, takes a little bit of training, right? And so to just be kind of standing there like, I hope
Mm-hmm.
they just keep yelling at each other. Like,
Yeah.
please don't try to attack each other. Just keep yelling. Everybody can yell all you want. Like,
The amount of protesters at the ledge, they should receive, I think, some sort of crowd control uh, training, because it really was by the seat of our pants, and there was like a lot of people, and I had a gun on my hip at that time. Like I needed to be aware of how close people were getting to me, and people got
mm-hmm.
close to me into it, kind of thing. So I mean, I'm sure that there was other measures in place by EPS to have like their actual team, their riot team on board. Times like if this goes south, this will go south fast, and
Oh
like
yeah.
crowd mentality, there will be nothing I can really do once it like hits a certain peak. And
Yeah.
so that was yeah, that was definitely a lot of like a lot of stress,
Yeah.
and a lot of emotions about law enforcement restrictions, like everything kind of coming together all at once. And it was just a time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and like you're saying too, like, I mean, people are very heated in their opinions, right? Like they believe
Mm-hmm.
that their side is right and they are willing to like fucking live or die for that, that
Mm-hmm.
belief, which I mean is fair. Everybody is welcome to their own beliefs and everybody's welcome to their own opinions and things like that, right? But like you also said, that crowd, the mob mentality, if you've never seen it turn,
Mm-hmm.
it's fucking scary. It is like I like to like symbolize it with like the ocean. Like if you get caught in the ocean, it goes from being like this is really fun to like holy fuck I'm gonna die in this ocean. Like this is actually it's like this wave has me and I can't get out and like what I thought was beautiful water now I'm fucking terrified. Like a mob mentality is the same. Like oh this group of people like everybody's chanting and they're yelling and they're waving their signs
Mm-hmm.
and then it just takes like one action for that like it to switch and then there's no stopping it. Like then it is just fucking mayhem and
Mm-hmm.
it's like I said, there's nothing you can do to stop it. You can't stop the ocean. You can't stop a fucking mob. Like you can try, you can do your best to corral it and fucking de-escalate it. But like once it's turned and it has to go until it fucking runs itself out. Right. Like, so
Yeah.
yeah, terrifying, totally terrifying to see it fucking
um
switch and go.
yeah, I was working the ledge when the raid on the Capitol happened, and that was like I was like, fuck, fuck. I hope that doesn't happen here. There's a couple interesting moments for sure, but it also like I got to see a lot of different viewpoints and a lot of like from extreme to not extreme, and it really like listening skills, if anything, and like skills of being almost non-judgmental, if that makes sense, because everyone was, for the most part, I mean, there's a couple bad eggs, but I think everyone was there truly because they care about something, and like that I can respect, you know what I mean? So I think it allowed me to become a better listener. I didn't always agree with what they were saying, but I could always try and see where they went to because I had to deal with them. And so that has made me, I think, quite a patient listener and non-judgmental, and I just let people be people and don't take it personally when their opinions like differ from me too much. So that was, I think, something cool I took from it for sure.
That's awesome. I really like that. And so you were with the sheriffs for how long then? Like 2 years?
I was with the sheriff's. I think it was 2 years. Yeah. So I was with. So after the ledge, I went back to escorts. And I love this special place in my heart for the sheriff's branch, but the work was becoming. I was getting very run down. I was going through some emotional, like personal emotional stuff at that time too, and I was just trying to figure out where I wanted to go with law enforcement, because be in policing anymore. That had been the original goal. But I also knew I didn't really want to stay with the sheriff's branch forever because it just wasn't fulfilling me like I hoped it would. So after that, I looked into a posting because I had to get under 4 minutes for that fucking thing.
Yep.
The pair test.
Yep.
So and hey, what did we do? I ended up having to do that twice, didn't I? Because I came in and I had I had a mental breakdown on the pushbowl.
You did. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. It was very, no, you know what though? It's so funny because like people are always embarrassed, right? When they have like a little bit of a breakdown in the middle of the pair, or the copat, and they're like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, man, you would not believe the shit I have seen. Like, because people come in and like, sometimes they're not at their best, or they're going through, shit personally that day, or this is their last kick at the fucking can. And they are so amped up and so stressed about not passing that they just fucking like break down or just shut down mid fucking test, right? And so, to be part of that and just be able to be like, hey, like, it is what it is. We'll fucking get it. We can do this. I know you can do it. And like, same with you, right? I knew you could do it. I knew you had the physical ability and the strength and the stamina and the endurance and the fitness, right? It's just, you just had a mental block that day, right? So, I mean, you still did it, right? You still got through it. It wasn't pretty. Let's not fucking sugarcoat it. It wasn't pretty, but you got through it, right? And it was just over the time that you needed, right? So, and then you came back and you fucking slayed it the next time, right? So yeah, I love being part of people's journey like that. To me, that's like, that fills my bucket. That to be like, to see people and be able to push them, and then see like the pride and joy when they pass, and like their realization of all their hard work and their effort and their dedication that they've put into getting to where they need to be and doing the fucking work, and like to see them pass. Like I'm like, oh yes, I love it, right? So yeah, and you did it. It was so good. I was so proud of you when you nailed that, because the other thing is, for a female to run an under 4 in the pair, there's not many females that can run an under 4. I've like, of all the tests I've done, I would say to run an under 4 for a female, it's like a handful of females that have run an under 4, right? So, for you to train for that and get it, it was like fucking right, especially as a front row, because like we all know, like front rows, we're not built like gazelles like some of these other fucking skinny minis that are like long-legged and fast, right? We have to work real fucking hard to get that jump, and we have to work real fucking hard to run fast. So yeah, no, I was super proud of you, dude. It was awesome.
It was really, really cool when you showed me, like, it was like, I think 3:57, and I was like, holy fuck, I actually did it. So that was neat. But I was gassed, like when we stopped and you're like, walk with me over to, like, come with me to pick up the bag. I was like, I'm gonna fucking pass out.
You're like, I don't want,
like, I'm like, don't let her know you're
you.
gonna pass out. Yeah, like, I just gotta lift this stupid bag and I'll be done.
It's so funny because that's, people say that to me all the time too. They're like, I didn't want you to see how fucking tired I was. I was like, oh bitch, I could see it. I've got my hand on your arm. I can feel how fucking tired you guys are.
I think I laid beside the fucking toilet at Blue Line for like 20 minutes after. Like, it felt like I was gonna vomit fire. Like, I was not well. I was like, I don't know if I need to puke or if I need to like call a medical professional, but like things are not going well for me.
I fucking love you. Oh my God. It's true. There's so many people that do that. Or they come out and they're like totally embarrassed. They're like, Nikki, I puked. And I'm like, yeah, did you, it's good. Did you puke in the toilet? Yeah. Okay, well, it's good then. You're fine. No, but Nikki, like, I puked. Yeah, dude, you just fucking ran your ass off and you puked. You're totally fine. You're good. You're not gonna die on me.
Mhm.
No, I'm not gonna die on you. Did you make a mess in the bathroom? Yeah, but I cleaned it up. Okay, then that's all I fucking care about, man. You're good, right? But yeah, the people that tell me they're like, I seriously thought I was going to die in the bathroom, Nikki. And I was like, well, that's why we have the policy that if somebody goes into the bathroom, somebody else needs to be checking on you because I don't want nobody dead at the end of the fucking testing. Okay. Like,
Fucking, if I never have to run the pair again, and it's just miserable. Yeah.
I was at the Alberta Association of Community Peace Officers conference like a month ago, and like a bunch of them have ran with me right to get their jobs, and so they come and they see me at the trade show. I'm like, oh, Nikki, so good to see you, but like, not gonna lie, I'd be happy to never see you again. And I'm like, okay, thanks, guys. They're like, I mean, just because we don't ever want to run the pair again, like we like you, but like we don't ever want to run that fucking pair again. And I was like, yeah, I know. I feel you. Like, it doesn't
I'm
ever get
well
better.
aware.
Yeah, it doesn't ever get better. Like the more times you run it, you would think it would get
Yeah, fair
easier
enough.
or you would like feel better after it, but you just feel like the same bag of shit every time you run it. So it is what it is.
Once I had finished the pair and got 4 minute time, I got hired on as a full-time conservation officer with Alberta Environment. Oh my gosh, it's not Alberta Environment and Parks. Oh my gosh, if one of them listens to me right now, they're going to shake their head. Whatever. I got hired on as a conservation officer. Some training. It was in Hinton. It was like 4 months in Hinton. And it was like, honestly, sometimes it was like a summer camp because we got to do like the usual law enforcement training, but then also like swift water rescue and ice water rescue and like it was just like cool shit like that where you were outdoors freezing your ass off doing like sometimes insane shit and that was a good time. Sorry, for example, the Swiftwater training, I had an old man hold me underwater while I had to escape my life jacket. It was terrifying. He's like, just tap my arm if you start to drown. And I'm like, fucking okay. And you had to get out of the life jacket while he holds you underwater. Holds me into this cold, cold, icy water. But
Holy
it was really fun.
shit. That's crazy.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
definitely gained a new respect for water. Yeah.
yeah, totally. So, how many females were in your class then?
There was three of us, including me, and it was really nice because we had like the downstairs of the Hinton Training Center, and it was like we had a whole floor to ourselves, and the boys had the two
Nice.
upstairs. Yeah, it was a good little crew of girls. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. How many people were in your troop?
Oh my gosh, I think there was 23 of us. And actually there was three girls in my sheriff's recruit training too. Three, there are at least three. One is too little, two is not enough, three. There you go. Now
Three is
we've
the
hit it.
magic number. Three is the magic
Three's the
number.
magic number. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're really, really cool. Like they were fucking actually she's a good friend of mine. She would like go rescue people on sides of mountains, and she was just like an insane search and rescue person, like insane cardio. We'd go to the gym together, and she's just like lean and jacked and like could run forever, and like she could just like put back food. So I don't know what her metabolism was doing, but it was nuts, and I was a little jealous, to be honest.
Right.
And the other chick, she was just this like badass, like she knew all like the hunting regulation, was this little hunter, was this like good at being a conservation officer. So we had a really good class, to be honest. Both my classes were a lot of fun, which I was happy about.
So, like all the law enforcement stuff. So, even though, because I'm assuming people that are coming into this career, like, sorry, coming into conservation, at some point have had law enforcement experience before. So, was there any way to like not have to redo a bunch of like the legal stuff, or is it just, it is what it is? You just fucking redo it. And if it's easy for you because you've already done it, it's easy for you?
Like so you just do all the courses. You just do what they say. There's no way around it. For natural resource law enforcement is changing because like Fish and Wildlife just joined the sheriffs. Conservation officers are taking on a bigger role. So it's like a lot of stuff is in flux right now in terms of and the schooling that they want. So it's an interesting time, and we'll see if how it affects each service and like the type of people that they'll get or who's interested in it nowadays. It used to be a lot of hunters and fishers, and they'd go to the Lethbridge, like they'd go Lethbridge for 4 years of schooling to get a degree. That's how you became a fish and wildlife officer, and that was the standard for a long time. And the the conservation officers are wiggling a little bit on that and letting more like law enforcement background in, which I think has some good parts to it. I was good with like law, but natural resource law is a whole fucking other ball game. Like you almost have to be a hunter or an avid fisher, fisherman or fisherwoman to like angler, I should say. You need to be like, you fucking almost need to know and what you're reading in law. So that's where I was struggling because I am not an angler and I'm not a hunter. I enjoy the outdoors, but my experience was a park ranger. My experience was a sheriff. So I knew law enforcement, but it was a struggle for like the natural resource part of things as well. You're almost exclusively working alone, and there's not like a incredibly solid FDO program in right now. Like they're trying. So like my partner was training me. It was gone. A lot of the time I was a little bit lost as of like what to do or just feeling unconfident if something were to happen. How would I react to it? Like in terms of like equipment, snowmobiles, boats, things that I just didn't have been confidently able to like do by myself with no one around to help me if shit went wrong. So that was a struggle for me. And I think I just was, I don't like feeling, I mean, of course I feel unconfident sometimes, but it was just to the point where I was like, didn't feel like 100% in the job where I was like, I need help. Like, and I need, and it was a matter of more experience and more training. And I was getting there for sure. But like, just because of my background, I was like definitely starting on a back foot with natural resource law enforcement. So
yeah. Well, and so like, what would be some of like the responsibilities like that you'd start out, you'd take your day and you'd go, okay, I'm starting my shift. Like, what did you have to do on a day-to-day basis?
Conservation officers had moved from parks like Alberta parks and had always been focused on the Provincial Parks Act and regulating activities within a park, which I had done at Wadman, like I mentioned earlier, and there was fishery stuff associated to it. But because of their expanding roles, so I had to cover off like just a massive area, so provincial parks and recreation areas and public lands, and my job was just to patrol it and like find stuff. And public lands was like the main there's so much like stuff with public lands that I was like still trying to understand and still trying to figure out what they wanted me to focus on. That again, sometimes I just felt a little bit lost. But essentially I'd hop into my truck, I'd rip provincial park fences, fishery fences, I'd do like fishing checks. When I had my partner with me, he's fucking super knowledgeable about all this stuff. He would kind of take me out and help me do a little bit more. So like, he'd show me the nooks and crannies of the district that he knew. We also did something I was fairly confident in was off-highway vehicle checks. Like I could get behind that because it's like traffic stop almost, a little bit different. So we do off-highway vehicle checks. It was an interesting role because there was so much we could do, and I think I needed a little more direction or a little more help. And I was getting it, and I was getting there, and I was having a fucking blast. I'm not trying to trash anything at all. This was my own personal struggle with it, and just I think due to my background, I was like I was just like trying to like I was just struggling to like perform up to my standards. If I just was like not doing what they needed me to do or not meeting a certain standard.
Yeah, and I like how you're saying that because if you don't feel confident in your abilities, and not in that you can't do it, but just that like, but am I doing it the best way I can, or am I doing it to the best like level that I could be, right? That's really hard because there's no way to like learn it unless you either do it again and again and again and again, which isn't normally going to happen, right? Because every day is different, and you're not always going to have like, oh, let's do 20 off-road vehicle checks today. Well, no, that's not reality, right? Like, or let's do a bunch of angler checks, or let's do like, if you're not getting that consistent, doing it enough times to really imprint it and it becomes second nature to you, then you're consistently feeling like, well, I can do it, but like I'm not super confident in it. And like if I fuck it up, like then that'll be really bad. And I don't want to fuck it up because I like to be a competent person, right? And I know like for you too, like you're quite a social person. And so being in kind of a remote location where you're on your own, there isn't a ton of, community around you, you're away from your family, right? And you're so tight with your family. Like I know that also plays a part into it, right? Where, and again, not working with a partner. Like I had another friend that I used to work with, and he was from Ontario, and he came out to Alberta originally to be a fish and wildlife officer. And that was like, he was hunter, fisher, like like outdoorsy guy. Like this was his dream job. And he did it, I think, for like 6 months and was like, this sucks. Like I'm always by myself. Like I never have a partner. I'm just driving around by myself in my truck all day long. Like I don't have anybody to talk to. If shit goes wrong, like nobody's finding my body for like 2 days because my backup
Yeah.
is 45 minutes away, like, and he was like, he was kind of upset with the fact that like what they made it out to be. And when I say they, it's not that the like Fish and Wildlife make it out to be. It's just that that's what you in your head make it out to be, is it's going to be this awesome quadding, skidooing, fucking out on the boat. We're going to be doing all these things. And then it's like, well, no, a lot of the time you are driving around in your truck, you're checking things and, and you're on your own. And you got to be really comfortable with being by yourself all the time. Right. And so some people, that's their dream fucking job. No, people, I can be in my truck by myself with nobody. Like fucking yes, sign me the fuck up for that, right? But for other people, that's agony. For me, that would be agony, to be by myself and to not be able to talk to anybody, or, like again, to not have a partner that you can shoot the shit with or have that team camaraderie with, or, you're playing pranks or you're joking or you're laughing all the time. Like that's got to be a really lonely space. And then again, add on top of it that you're still just learning the job and trying to figure it out. Like I can 100% understand why you'd be like, yeah, I don't know if this is what I really wanted to do anymore, So yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely struggled with the isolation, and like my best days were when my partner was with me, because we cruised around to knew the areas of the district and he was showing me and I was slowly learning. But he was on like a lot of different committees and he was gone a lot. And like I just was for me, I'd hop in my truck and I was alone all day, and then I would come home and I would, I'd go to the gym. And then I had kind of mentioned before we started, like I had made some really cool friends up there, two guys, two sheriffs up there who we hung out a lot. But like for the most part, I was feeling like just very, very isolated and very lost and unconfident doing. And it was just a hard couple months. And I had my dog with me, thank God, Lilu. Shout out to Lilu on the podcast.
Oh my God, so cute. I love you. I love your dog. Love.
She's awesome. But she like me, like we go for a walk every day after my shift, and like at night she put her head on my chest, and like it just made things like bearable. But I will say, when I was up there, like you have a lot of time to think when you're alone. And something actually started to help me mentally when I was kind of struggling was art. And like, I mean, you can't see me, like, what I look like, but people can't see me. I have a lot of tattoos, and I started drawing, and like I started drawing every fucking day and painting and learning, and I loved it. And so when I was up, interesting to mention on podcast, but I decided I wanted to get into tattooing, which is one of the reasons I left Slave Lake, so I could come back down to the city area to be closer to tattoo shops and continue that passion, and got a job back here. And I've just been working on my art, but that's kind of like the new goal. Like I feel like I've gotten so much from law enforcement, and I think the day I stop and I take off the uniform will be like a pretty fucking sad day, and I'll feel a little lost. But like I think I've loved my career, but it's ready for something different, which is really exciting. But I don't think if I hadn't experienced those like hardships and kind of isolation, I don't think I would have dug in as hard into my art. And I just like, so that's something really cool that came out of it, I think.
Yeah, and your art is amazing. Like I we'll have to put your Instagram page up that has all your art on it, and we're just going to push you out of your comfort zone and share that with everybody so that everybody can look at your awesome art. But I love it. Like I mean, you have such a like unique style of art and the things that you do, and like you are very talented. Like I don't know if anybody has told you that, but like very talented. And so I can 100%, like when you said that, like, hey, yeah, like I'm thinking I'm going to do this, and I was like, fucking right. I could totally see you being a tattoo artist, like 1,000% I could. So yeah, I'm excited for that journey. And like you said, sometimes you just have to move closer to what the resources are that are going to help you do that, right? And so yeah, in a rural area, are you going to find that many tattoo places? Maybe one or two. Are they going to be quality? Well, you would hope, but again, are they going to be bringing on apprentices and things like that? Probably not, right? So if you can move to a more urban area, and then you have that like more exposure and stuff, then I think yeah, you made the right call. So like I love hearing that from each job, you took something, like you it wasn't just like, oh, I did this and then I did this and then I did this and like, yeah, this one was good, man. Like you really took something specific from each role. And I think that's super important because otherwise you just are going and putting in your 8 hours and leaving and you're not really gaining anything from it. And so I think that's amazing that you, from each place, you can actually pinpoint like, this is what I learned here. This is what I did here. This is, like these are the things that I took away from this. And this is what I learned, or, this is how I changed from doing this specific role, because before I was like this. And now I have like, again, not that you were judgmental before, but that now you just have a way more open mindset and you realize like how many different opinions there are and how many different things that people are so passionate about, and they're going to share their beliefs with you, right? So that's totally cool. Okay, I know that I've taken a lot of your time on this, and you work today, and I know you're tired, and you probably want to eat and snuggle your puppy. But I'm going to wrap up with a couple rapid fire questions. So let's start with we'll go back to conservation, just because I think the conservation role is so cool, and if I could do it, I totally would. Yeah. But so what was your favorite piece of equipment that you got to like play around with or use either during your training or when you were an officer?
You know what? I think it's the shotgun with the sling, because that thing was so much fun transitioning between Glock to shotgun and walking around a dump looking for a bear, the fucking building. Your shotgun becomes pretty fucking important, so you learn to love it quick. And I think I just looked sexy and cool with the shotgun slung across my front. Not to brag, but I look pretty fucking cool.
God damn, I love you. Fuck, that's awesome.
I was like Maverick of conservation officers.
That's amazing. Maverick of conversation. Fuck, you kill me, girl. You fucking kill me. Okay, that's good. I like that. I like that answer. Okay, second rapid fire. What is your favorite food to eat while you are on shift, or favorite snack?
Oh, I like coffee.
That's a good default. That's a good default answer. That's a caffeine.
I had peanut butter and bananas. Peanut butter and bananas. I fucking love peanut butter and bananas so much.
So what do you do? Do you just like take the peanut butter and put it on a banana slice and eat it, or what are you doing?
Yeah, but I try not to eat it like it's shaped like a penis. Instead, I do little my fingers and I place it on the V and eat it out, because I'm gay, so I can't look like I'm eating a dick.
Oh my fucking God, I love you so much. Oh my God, I love you so much. Yes. Okay, fantastic. I like that answer. Okay. Okay. Next up, what is the funniest thing that has happened to you in the last year or the last couple months?
Holy fuck. It was the duck. It was the duck rescue. Okay. I have like, okay, this is gonna be 5 minutes, but we're gonna do it.
All good. Okay. I like it.
So I was working conservation. My partner's gone. I'm starting shift in about an hour, so I'm putzing around the house, and I get a call. Hey, do you have time, or like, can you respond to a shitty duck? And I was like, what do you mean a shitty duck? Like, what's the duck doing? And he's like, no, there's a duck trapped in an outhouse, like in the toilet in your park. And I was like, in the toilet. And he's like, listen, don't panic. This has happened to a couple of us before. You need a box, you need a garbage bag, and you ideally need a friend. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'll figure it out. So I fucking get my gear on, and I have a bag, and I have a bunch of paracord, and I'm looking at the paracord, and I'm like, hey, if I hook a piece of paracord around the duck's neck, I can pull it out. And so I Google how to tie a noose, and I tie a noose in the paracord, and I drive out to this fucking outhouse, and I open it up, and I look down in the toilet, and there's a duck on a pile of shit, a massive pile of shit. And I'm like, hey, I have to get this duck out. It's my job. It's my duty. It's my duty. I have to do this. So I toilet, like it's plastic. I can remove it right off. So it's just this square cut into the cement, into this like septic tank with this fucking duck. And I have the box, and I have someone with a garbage bag. And I'm like, all right, I start to like put the pair into the septic tank, and I try and hook the duck's neck. But every time I try and hook the duck's neck, it lifts its little bill up. And I'm like, fuck, I have to get closer. So I lay on my belly, and I reach into the tank and it's still not doing it. Well, torso deep into this fucking outhouse and I hook it around the duck's neck. Finally, it's chilling out. And I try and pull on the paracord, but that knot doesn't cinch. I have to reach further in and cinch it around the duck's neck. And I finally get this fucking thing around this duck's neck and I haul it out of this outhouse. And and the smell really hits me then. And it's flapping its wings and I can feel the human shit get on my face and stuck in the box. And it's getting choked out. So it's going, but I'm gagging. So I'm going, and so it's going, and I'm going, and as I'm struggling to get this noose off this duck so I don't kill it, more pants issued in the department, and my whole fucking thigh busts out of my pants. So I'm fucking, my thighs flapping around. I have human shit on my face. I'm fucking choking a duck with a paracord noose. And I have a member of the public in the back. I should be doing it. And I am this close to fucking losing it. So I like get this noose off and I'm like, hey, take the duck away, put it in the river. And I walk out of the outhouse, I take the paracord, I throw it in the garbage. I take those in the garbage. And for the most part, I just dispose of everything. And I'm like, I'm done my shift for the day, actually. And I go home and I shower and I didn't fucking go back to work. I was like, no, that was enough. So that's my shitty duck story.
Oh my God, dude, I am crying. I am fucking crying right now. That is the funniest of all the stories of all the guests I've had. That is the funniest fucking story that I have ever heard. Oh my fucking
My
God.
girlfriend loves every time if I mention a duck, she starts like giggling. She's like, yeah, like she thinks it's so fucking funny. Like,
oh my God.
I think it's actually what made her fall in love with me, the shitty duck story, to be honest.
Dude, like that is, I mean, like you couldn't put more fucking funny shit into a story. And like the best part is, so in season 2, we did an episode on female first responders and our uniforms and how they fucking suck and how like blowouts happen all the time because we have the shittiest pants ever and like they're fucking terrible material. So like to hear that on top of being flapped with human shit, your pants decide like that's the time to give out. Like it's just
no, I was like, what the fuck is actually happening to me right now? I was like, I actually don't get paid enough to do this. Like I literally don't. So I hope that duck is grateful for every fucking second it has on this planet.
because it could have died a very shitty death.
Like a horrible, horrible death in a fucking septic tank.
Oh, dude, that's a mic drop story. I don't think we can top that fucking story. That is like my face hurts from laughing and my stomach hurts from laughing so hard. Oh my God.
It's one of my favorites too.
Oh, dude. Okay. Well, I mean, this has been a fucking treat. I have loved talking to you. I've loved hearing all of your like stories and your learnings and all the things you've done. I'm so happy that you are back in an urban area, loving your life, working on your art and stuff like that. I know you're not going to play rugby this summer, which makes me a little bit sad, but I really hope that I get to see you out on the pitch for something. Come for a beer,
maybe
come for a
sevens.
bevy. Yeah, come for sevens, come hang out. But yeah, it has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you for making me fucking laugh my ass off. Any last thing that you want to say to our listeners? Anything you want to put out there to anybody?
Well, if you do want to check out my art, it's Tatted Monk Art on Instagram, TATTED. Appreciate any support you guys can give me from the law enforcement community if you like my art. And just, yeah, I'm super grateful. Thanks for having me on today and laughing and, just let me say a bit of my story. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. Okay, girl. Well, I hope you have an amazing rest of your night. You take care of yourself and we will see each other soon. Well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in, listening, giving me your time, your energy, and your attention. I completely appreciate it. Make sure you check out our next episode with another badass female first responder anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at bluelinefitnesstesting.com. I hope you stay safe, keep your head on a swivel, and watch your six.